Today we're going to talk about polynomial division, which can be done in multiple ways, but specifically we'll be talking about long division. So the idea behind polynomial division is to take what we know about regular division, 138 divided by 12, and apply it to a polynomial. So if we have 12, it divides into 13 one time. So we're saying, how many times does it go in? Then we do 1 times 12. Then we subtract those from 13, carry down the next term, and then 1 goes into 12. 12 goes into 18 one time. So 18 minus 12 is 6. So we have 11 with a remainder of 6. In other words, 6/12, which is the same thing as 11 and 1/2. If we do this with polynomial division, we'll do the exact same thing. We'll write out our dividend and our divisor. And we want to do the same thing, just like we were saying, how many times does 12 go into 13? How many times does x plus 2 go into x squared plus 3x? Really focus on how many times the x goes into the x squared. Well, it goes in x times. X times x gives us x squared. That's the point. X times x gives us x squared, and x times 2 gives us 2x. Then, just like we did here, then we subtract that. So I'm going to subtract both of these. Notice that I added a negative sign in there. So we get x squared minus x squared is 0. 3x minus 2x is x. And then we carry down the next term, x plus 8. How many times does x plus 2 go into x plus 8? Well, it goes in once. And then we have 1 times x plus 2. Just as before, we're going to subtract the whole thing. So we're left with x minus x is 0. 8 minus 2 is 6. So plus 6 over our divisor, x plus 2. So the result is x plus 1 plus 6 over x plus 2. Everything that we did on the left, we did in the right. And these were picked specifically because if, say, x was 10, then these would be exactly the same problem. This would be 10 squared, or 100, 3 times x, which is 30, and 8. 138 is 138 divided by 12. So here's the process in steps. First, you want to write the dividend. Use placeholder zeros for any missing terms. So if we have x squared plus 3, we can't just leave it like that. We have to write x squared plus 0x plus 3. Just like if this would be the same thing as writing 103 as 13. You can't just do that. You have to include that placeholder 0. Divide the first few terms by the divisor. Place your result in the quotient. So that was when we said x plus 2 goes into x squared plus 3x x times. Multiply the result by the divisor and place it underneath the dividend. So once we decided x goes here, we did x times x plus 2 getting x squared minus 2x, or plus 2x. Then subtract from the dividend, repeat these until we get to our final answer, and then write the remainder as a fraction. So I have 3 practice problems just so you get some examples in. Step 1, write the dividend. There are no placeholders necessary because each term is represented. There's no missing x cubed. There's an x cubed term. Now, what we're going to do is we say, how many times does x plus 1 go into? Well, because this is a binomial, we'll look at the first 2 terms here. So how many times does x plus 1 go into this? Well, think about it as taking 2x to the 5th and dividing it by the x. We'll be left with 2x to the 4th. 2x to the 4th times this is 2x to the 5th plus 2x to the 4th. So I'm distributing that to x and to 1. And now we want to subtract these. These subtract to 0. These negative 6x to the 4th, negative 2x to the 4th becomes negative 8x to the 4th. Now we bring down the next term and repeat the process. X plus 1 goes into this, I believe, negative 8 times, and then because of the exponent here, x to the 4th divided by x will give us x cubed, so that's why I'm writing negative 8x cubed. Then I do negative 8x cubed times x gives negative 8x to the 4th minus 8x cubed. Now we have to change this to subtraction. So since they started as subtraction, we have to change the signs. And we're left with 4x cubed. Bring down the next term. Just like normal long division, this takes a long time. How many times does x go into 4x cubed? Well, it goes in 4x squared times 4x squared times x is 4x cubed. 4x squared times 1 is 4x squared. Make both of them negative. And these subtract to 0, these subtract to 2x squared. Carry down the next term. Repeat the process. How many times does x plus 1 go into 2x squared plus 11x? Well, it goes in 2x times. You really just need to focus on the leading term of this and your divisor. So 2x times that is 2x squared. I'm going to need to shift down, 2x squared plus 2x. Now make them both negative and subtract. 11 minus 2x is 9x minus 1. And then we have, how many times does x plus 1 go into 9x plus minus 1? 9 times. So 9 times x gives us 9x. And 9 times 1 gives us 9. Subtract these, we are left with negative 10. So all of this plus negative 10 over x plus 1. Next example. This one is very similar. However, there's a trick in this problem because of, well, hopefully you can find it. Here's the trick. We need to put a 0x there. Because there's no linear term listed, we can't just jump from the x squared term to the linear term. We have to write that linear term. The process is going to be identical. Now we're going to say this is 10x to the 4th, because 10x to the 4th times x will give us 10x to the 5th. The point is to subtract these out every time. If you get something other than the same term as this, you must have done something wrong. So 10x to the 4th times 3, 30x to the 4th. Subtract those, and we get negative 8x to the 4th. How do we get this divided by x will be negative 8x cubed. So that's negative 8x to the 4th minus 24x cubed. Add these, add those, we're left with negative 3x cubed minus 9x squared. Negative 3x squared, yes. Negative 3x squared times that will give me negative 3x squared, or x cubed. Negative 3 times that will give me negative 9, and then x squared. Change the signs, and then add. We're left with 0. Bring down the next term. That goes in 0 times. Bring down the next term. That goes in no times. So this last term is really going to be plus 6 over x plus 3. One last practice problem, and this is something that happens every so often. You can do this when you're dividing by something other than a binomial. Here we have a trinomial that we're dividing by. Every term was listed. And now that we are looking at a trinomial here, we start looking at the first three terms. So how many times does this go in? Well, based off of this, we put 5x squared. Also, it should also line up with the last of these terms. It should always go 5x squared times this x squared should become a 5x to the fourth. 5x squared times this is 15x cubed, and 5x squared times that is negative 25x squared. Make this subtraction, so switch all the signs. That becomes 0, that becomes negative x cubed, and this becomes positive x squared. Next one, how do we get x squared to become negative x cubed? We have to multiply by negative x. So this is by saying negative x cubed divided by x squared. So negative x times that gives us negative x cubed. Then we get negative 3x squared and plus 5x. Turn this into the opposite signs, so we get 4x squared plus 12x minus 14. We're getting really close. This last one, 4x squared divided by x squared, should be 4. 4 times each of these is 4x squared plus 12x minus 20. Switch the signs on everything. And now this becomes 0, 0, and 6. So plus 6 over, and we write the whole divisor as part of our remainder. So 5x squared minus x plus 4 is our quotient, and 6 is our remainder. Thank you.